I'm 43 years old, and something I wish they told me when I was younger is it doesn't matter how hard you work, sometimes it's who you know that can help you get into position. This week on Mindfulness in the Middle of the week is thinking about aging. So over the last week, I've been reflecting a lot on me getting old, my family, my son, and what that really feels like and how that resonates with me personally. My first reflection is around relationships and network. So pause with me for a second and think about a time where you've worked your absolute hardest and had the rude awakening that that was not going to be good enough because there's someone somewhere who you felt knew someone who looked out for them and not for you. That for me has been a huge theme of aging as I've gotten older and been career busting and class busting for the last 12 years. Understanding that age-old saying, bootstrapping and hard work pays off just doesn't count sometimes, is the rudest awakening that I've had as I've gotten older. The biggest thing we have to do as we're learning those lessons is, as you are getting to know a new network, do not jump in head first. Take a step back, get to know the culture, get to know the players, get to know the being, and if you're like me, you're probably really nervous and suffering from imposter syndrome anyway, so take that time to relax and ground yourself in that space so you can know how that space can work for you, but also so you can identify what relationships are there and existing before you arrived. We're suffering from losses, and that is the biggest part of life that is cliche, but no one prepares for you for that. Those of us who get to see the time side of life, we're going to lose a lot, and there's no amount of prep for that. Another thing I've been reflecting on this week is watching the people around me get older. My son, my mom, my friends, other family members, lessons as older folks, whether it be about our health, starting to deal with major health issues, high blood pressure, strokes, heart problems. My son is 19 now, and watching him grow up, it's cliches are true. One minute I'm changing diapers and chasing him around in his terrible twos. The next minute he is a 19-year-old blooming young man in college, working on his own career and trying to think about how to help his mother out without me even asking, which is an amazing turn to be a caretaker turned cared for, and of which I'm going through the same thing as my mom, as you know, we're both in that time of life where I'm in my 40s and she's in her 60s now, and we are watching each other get older, and as a trio, a multi-generational trio, each laughing at each other's thoughts of being old, where me and my mom thinks it's crazy that my son thinks he's grown. My mom thinks that I'm crazy, and my son thinks that I'm crazy. When I tell them I'm getting old, even though I'm the same age as Beyonce, we're getting old. So, you know, that, and, you know, with my mom, watching her get old, she's youthful. I don't even know if my mom has a gray hair in her head, but you know, we're all getting older and just going through life's changes physically, mentally, and spiritually. I tell you, I love my car. I love my car. I love my phone. And I love my clothes too. I have to add that in there. Inanimate objects was another thing to focus on in this week's activity. And this was a perfectly timed conversation for me to have this week for Mindfulness in the Middle, because I am going through my midlife phase and just really thinking about what's next in my life and reflecting on all the things that have happened. And when I see signs of wear and tear on those things, I really feel some type of way about it. My car, you know, I've always had used cars. I've never had a brand new car, so I don't know what that transition feels like. But I am a miser when it comes to watching the miles and getting my oil changes and just wanting my baby to look good on the road. But also, you know, another example in my life is having my mother and watching her having had cars and paying them off. That's something that prides me off too, is having bought my cars and paying them off and getting old with them. So I'm a Cadillac lover, and a Cadillac is timeless, and that's why I picked the car that I drive today. As far as other objects in my life, my phone, you know, my phone's getting older. I have always been that person that got the most recent upgrade. I've always made sure I had the newest technology. I believe I even was one of the first camera phones back in the day. I had that before that was even a thing. So I was that annoying person snapping pictures back in the day before most people even had that technology. But now I'm to the point where my phone barely works, and even making these TikToks sometimes are hard. So, you know, aging in my life is a huge and constant thing. And it was a perfectly timed conversation for me to have with myself this week. Really excited about all of the feedback that I've gotten from people who have encouraged me to keep doing it, whether it be the actual series that I'm sitting and speaking to everyone, or my in the car quick talks that I do in between each series where I've reflected on the previous topic or the topic that's coming up and kind of a hot take, if you will. So what's next? What's next on Mindfulness in the Middle? This is my third episode, and so I find that to be really exciting, and it is truly a commitment that I've had to make and stepping outside the box and doing something new that I've never done before. I'm going to keep going next week with talking about defending and defining. Become aware of how you define yourself and defend yourself in your personal territory. For example, do you see yourself as liberal or conservative, an East Coast person or a West Coast person? Notice how quickly a mug, a parking space, or a seat on that subway becomes mine, and how you react when someone else takes it. Check in on this process several times a day. That's what we will be working on this week, and I am excited to have that discussion.